In the hazy memory of the not-too-distant past, the Honda CR-V was once the king of the highly competitive mid-sized SUV segment. But winning the throne in any SUV segment comes with a ticking time bomb. The challenge isn't so much getting to the top, it's remaining there without being kicked to the curb. And unfortunately for the previous generation CR-V, life in the fast lane at the top of the pack was short-lived, with new models with more refinement and better styling nipping at its heels. But now it's back and it's all new, and I mean new from the ground up. And Honda promises this new version offers better safety, more practicality and more technology than ever before. Whether that's true or not is what we're here to find out, and we don't just have one model in the CR-V range to figure it out, we've got all 4 variants, so we can tell you which one we think is the pick of the pack. This is the Honda CR-V range review. First off, we should probably take a look at what you get in any CR-V on the market, and it's fair to say that the base level of specification is pretty good. Your standard list of features include keyless entry with push-button start, dual-zone climate control, a rear-view camera, a 7-inch touchscreen media unit with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as 8 speakers positioned evenly around the cabin. There's also an electric park brake, driver fatigue monitoring, and a tyre pressure indicator. For those in the back, there are reclining seats, air vents, and dual USB inputs. From the outside, even the base model car looks pretty sharp, with LED daytime running lights, front fog lights, 17-inch alloy wheels, and in every model there's a full-size alloy spare wheel, which is a rarity these days. No matter which CR-V you choose, it comes with a 1.5-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine and a CVT automatic gearbox. That's right, whether you choose front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, you get the same engine, and it's got 140 kilowatts of power and 240 newton meters of torque, which is good for the class, but doesn't set any new standards. So now we've figured out what every CR-V has, it's time to suss out where they all fit in the scheme of things. And to keep things simple, we'll start here at the base model and work our way up. The VTI model is the base grade, starting at $30,690 plus on-road costs. It's only available with front-wheel drive, meaning it's probably best considered a city SUV more than one that you'd think of taking too far off the beaten track. Just like the Civic that came before it, the CR-V has really direct and really quick steering, which doesn't quite gel with the suspension of the car because it's quite soft, although it is really well resolved over bumps. Now, soft suspension might not appeal to the hardcore driver, but this is a car that's aimed squarely at family buyers, and it executes on that promise brilliantly. The engine isn't thrilling, but it certainly gets the job done just fine, and the CVT transmission does a really good job as well. But if you're looking to go a little bit further afield, you might not be willing to cop the shortfall in SUV-ness of the base model front-wheel drive car, and we get that. That's where the next model comes in. It's the VTI-S, which has front-wheel drive for $33,290 or all-wheel drive like we have here for $35,490. And it's the all-power version we've got here, so we can see what advantage that on-demand system offers you. So, does the drive experience change between the front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive? Not as much as you might think. The steering's still really involving, which means you do feel quite a bit of what's happening at the front axle. That's a bonus, because on surfaces like this, when it gets a bit rough, you do want to know what's happening at the front axle. In terms of ride comfort, not much has changed. It's good, even over some of the rougher sections of this track. And while most people won't be dealing with tracks like this every day, it's good to know that you can. Whether you choose front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive like this, you get plenty of extra goodies as well, including Honda's clever blind spot monitoring system, Lane Watch, as well as satellite navigation and front and rear parking sensors. The VTI-S is separated from its more affordable sibling by larger and more stylish 18-inch alloy wheels, chrome exterior details, and an electric tailgate. Now, I said earlier that the CR-V has always been the pragmatist's choice, and I mean, just look how much boot space there is back here. The figure is 522 litres, bigger than everything else in the class except the VW Tiguan and Nissan X-Trail. Remember though, the CR-V has a full-size spare, which could be a bonus. The boot is an important part of the CR-V because in the next model up, there's a huge difference. And no, I'm not talking about our lead tester, Mike Costello.
Okay, but before we look at the boot space in the next model up, let's first consider this car's rear seat space. Look how much room I have back here, and that's with the driver's seat in my position, and I'm not exactly the smallest guy.
Yeah, you're right. If someone of your stature can be comfortable back there, then it must be roomy.
Yeah, but there is a hitch. Check out the headroom difference in the VTIL, the new 7-seater.
Mate, what is the deal there?
Okay, so to enable the middle row of seats to tilt and tumble to give access to the third, they've had to increase the height. On top of that, there's also vents in the roof that, well, they're good, but man, they eat into the headroom.
Yeah, and then there's that big panoramic sunroof as well.
It's really claustrophobic back here.
All right, so what about the third row?
Let's find out.
This could be a little bit rough.
I reckon it's going to be a pretty tight fit, mate.
All right, push this down.
Watch your feet. All right.
Feet are in. That's okay, I mean, but no one's going to be able to sit in front of me.
No, well, to fit you in the back, we've had to move this row all the way forward. And I don't know if that looks okay to me, man.
Look,
it's pretty tight.
It's probably not okay. I mean, if you're an adult or a teenager, this isn't going to work. But if you're running the kids to soccer, maybe half the team, it could be okay.
Yeah, I think if you regularly carry 3 or more passengers, you're probably going to want to look elsewhere.
All right, can you help me get out?
See what we can do.
We'll get to Mike's opinion on which is the best CR-V a little later on, but first, let's take a look at boot usability. The 7-seat version has 150 litres of space in the back with all 7 seats up. Yes, you're right, that's not much. And there's a penalty to pay with the rear seats folded down, as you then have 472 litres of space to play with, 50 litres less than the 5-seat model. Another issue with the 7-seat model is that you can't get it with all-wheel drive, so that'll mean you'll have to weigh up what's more important to you. And while those rear seats may be a godsend to a few, they won't be to most. Although, in the VTIL, you do get plenty of equipment. A panoramic sunroof that'll keep stargazing kids entertained, as well as easy-to-clean leather seat trim. For those up front, there are seat heaters and the driver's seat gets power adjustment, including lumbar adjustment and memory settings. What does this extra stuff cost? The VTIL is $38,990, so you'd have to be sold on those rear seats and the extra niceties to justify that expenditure. The range-topping model is the VTI-LX, which is dearer again. It has a price tag of $44,290 and is sold with all-wheel drive only. So, just to recap, you can get the front-drive VTI base model at $30,690, the VTI S with front drive for $33,290, or with all-wheel drive for $35,490. Then there's the VTI L with 7 seats and front-wheel drive for $38,990, and the flagship all-wheel drive VTI LX at $44,290. Yep, that price for this flagship model is getting up there, but it comes packed with equipment, including the full Honda Sensing safety suite. That package includes lane departure warning and lane keeping assist, forward collision warning and autonomous emergency braking, and adaptive cruise control. That's all good stuff, but it isn't ideal that you have to spend the extra coin to get into this model to get items like AEB. In rival cars like the Mazda CX-5 and Volkswagen Tiguan, that tech is standard, and you can't even option it on lower grades of the CR-V, which is disappointing. So if you want the latest safety tech, you'll just have to go for the VTI LX. But it's not just safety stuff that you get in this top-of-the-range model. The VTI LX is differentiated outside by full LED headlights and active cornering lights, LED front fog lights, and rear privacy glass. Inside, the top model has a 4-way powered front passenger seat, DAB+ digital radio, and an auto-dimming rear-view mirror. So Mike, after testing every variant in the range, I think we've come up with the verdict that they're all family friendly.
They really are. It's an excellent family all-rounder. And there's one more thing I want to point out to you, which is have a look at how wide the rear door opens. It's almost 90 degrees and that aperture is massive.
Fantastic for parents. I mean, getting your kids in and out, getting the seats in and out. big bonus. But I've got to say, that VTI L with the 7 seats, a bit of a letdown.
Not quite the packaging masterpiece that I was hoping for, knowing Honda. If you had a really small family, maybe you could do it. But I think if you're regularly carrying 5 or 6 passengers, a bigger SUV or even a people mover would probably be a better bet.
Boring. Okay, so we've got 3 vehicles remaining. The base model VTI, the mid-spec VTI S with all-wheel drive, or the all-wheel drive top-spec model, the VTI LX. Which is the pick?
Well, what I really like about the new CR-V range is even the base VTI has enough niceties that it doesn't feel like a cut price special. However, I tend to think that for the small price premium, the VTI S offers enough cool stuff to justify it. I'm thinking the push button start, the nice alloy wheels, the sat nav, and the fact you can get all-wheel drive.
That's a big bonus for a lot of buyers. So, sounds like you've made up your mind. VTI S with all-wheel drive?
Absolutely fantastic way to drop about 35 grand on a medium SUV.
Okay. I agree with Mike. I think it is the pick of the range, but what do you think? Let us know in the comments section below.